So in preparing this week to be with you as the visiting missionary, we're hearing about hospitality today, very much so. And I must say, when I arrived here already yesterday, it was tremendous in this area. Father was here unexpectedly. I thought he would be away, but his plans changed, and I was very happy that I was here because the hospitality was grand. We come here weekend after weekend to the parish liturgy. We hear God's word. That's why we sit at his feet, to listen to his word. We receive him in the strength of the Eucharist, to take him home with us, and to share him with others through word and through example, and to share our own hospitality, first among yourselves as husbands and wives, as family, sons and daughters, brothers and sisters. In the neighborhood, you bring Christ to others by your word and example. At the work site. But you also have taken your word thousands of miles away to people around the world as the missionary that you were called to be from baptism. Today we know you as the majority of missionaries to our brothers and sisters around the world. I belong to a community of priests and brothers, divine word missionaries, who are chosen in a special way to go to many countries around the world, representing you as the majority of missionaries. I felt your presence in my life in Ghana, West Africa, thousands of miles away. We go back to the 19th century when this missionary renewal in the church was taking place. Saints like St. Teresa, the Little Flower. She wanted very much, as a Carmelite nun, to go to some mission country around the world. Never happened in her lifetime. Her health wasn't that good, that great, to be able to travel, to go to some other countries around the world where you needed strength and so on to enter a new culture. But that did not leave her from becoming the patroness of the missions, a great saint of the missions. And we see that she's been responsible for many, many souls that have been won over through her prayers and through her sacrifices from her Carmelite convent. She became the missionary she was meant to be. Another great saint in that 19th century, one you're not very familiar with, who just became a saint, happened to be the founder of my community, St. Arnold Janssen, a young diocesan priest in Germany, realized too at that time that there should be somebody going to people around the world to continue the beautiful growth of the church. He asked his bishop if he could not be a missionary, to leave his fatherland. Never happened. Yet that did not stop St. Arnold Janssen from founding Divine Word Missionaries, a community of priests and brothers, 6,000, working in 70 countries around the world. Today you are the St. Arnolds and the St. Teresas as the majority of missionaries to our brothers and sisters around the world without going to India, to Africa, to New Guinea, South America, and so on. From the comfort of your home and parishes, your prayers and your sacrifices have been responsible for the tremendous growth of the church around us. I see this when I was working in Ghana, West Africa. The churches have been built, the schools are there, education very much available. Vocations are abundant today because of your many prayers and your sacrifices over the years and across the miles. So today, invited by the diocese to share with you something concerning the missionary cooperative plan, I realize it's not necessary for me to make you aware of the needs that are still lacking around the world because you know so well. Living in this time of magic, satellite communication makes you aware instantly of what is taking place around you. And it's from this awareness you continue to be the missionaries you are meant to be. So yes, I'm here to say thank you. As my parents taught me, dziękuję bardzo. Some of our missionaries will announce muchas gracias, merci beaucoup, danke schön, hvala, obrigado, anuanom e nura medawasi. In any language, thank you is a beautiful phrase. As I arrived in Ghana, West Africa, I noticed the very fact that people were walking everywhere, every step of the day. Children in the morning, before they went off to school, were walking many steps to bring home necessary buckets of water for their family. The people themselves, early in the morning, so proudly would announce, I'm going to the farm, some kilometers away from their village. It's there that they grow the yam and the cassava root, what makes up their dinner, that fufu, in the evening. When I got to see their farms, I realized, no, we know farms here in North America, right in your neighborhood. Spacious acres, a lot of animals, a lot of produce on farms, as we call them. They were talking about the garden that most of us have very conveniently right out the door in our backyard. Yes, they walked to church, they walked through the marketplace. It was in all the walking I began to see as taking place in their daily lives that their culture and their language showed me what a beautiful expression of gratitude they also had. They would walk those extra steps on that particular day to come to announce Osofo Enura Meduwasi, coming to say, Father, thank you for yesterday. And I'm here to thank you for the many yesterdays. You have been the missionaries you are meant to be. I felt your presence in my life on days I'd be hurting from malaria, for instance. May have looked like I was alone, but I never felt alone, because your prayers for the missions have been heard again and again. Instant miracles weren't always provided for us, but the graces were given that we might persevere, to be the missionaries we were called to be from baptism, to hang in there, to be patient a little while with that suffering. Otherwise, for sure, I would have been the first one with no guts at all, wanting to be right back here. After all, there's no place like home. My home was in Erie, Pennsylvania. Reaching to the chair next to my bed, next to my cot, again I felt your hand in mine. That medication was available. Taking the Atibrine, the Resergen, the fever would dissipate in a few days. I'd have my strength back. And again, I wasn't alone. There you were, many of you, ready to ride along the mission trails with me. Here in the country, people are walking everywhere. Thank you for the transportation you provided. I was able to reach around to my 3 parishes. And coming to those villages again, I could see many of you were already there ahead of me. You helped the Divine Word missionary who was sent there before me, as I mentioned, to build their churches, to build their schools. We have education very much available. Vocations are abundant. You have made that all possible over the years and across the miles. And thanks for the cup of water I had to drink every day. I didn't have to walk too many steps. It was right outside the door of the parish house or the church was the holding tank, that man made well. Your sacrifice brought the cement into the country. Our brothers were able to construct these basins, knowing that during the rainy season, water would gather into these tanks. There we would have the 300-400 gallons of water on the spot. Sure, easy enough to use a bucket to bring in the house and boil it, saved us steps in our day for water to drink and water to cook with. Thank you, my good neighbors. And where the sisters were present and involved, they had their clinics, the first aid station, and the very important ingredients were there also. Medication, vitamins, and so on, because of your sacrifices over the miles. You are out there in the missions as the majority of missionaries to our brothers and sisters around the world. We ask God to bless you here at home as He gives you the graces and strength to continue being the good people you have been, as you remain good husbands and good wives, fine parents, good sons and good daughters, good brothers and good sisters and good neighbors, knowing when you continue to have this love and this sharing, it is carrying right here in your own family, in your church community. It will overflow, as it has so often in the past, reaching out around the world as together we continue to build a beautiful church around us. Thank you indeed, and may God bless you. O tumfo niyankapon en shiramo ejano neobano ne sun sun kronkron dinmu en nyaho.